what are we hearing about this interview Jericho's doing where he's saying he's open to returning to the WWE?
I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's very open to it. We'll see where it goes. You know, Jericho's been there a long time. Jericho has had more opportunity to do more of his own stuff than most people. Tony's a big Chris Jericho fan going back to his teenage years. You would think in some ways Chris Jericho may be set for life in AEW, even though the work is not there. The angles, the promos, the ideas, the programs, everything from like A to Z has been pretty shitty from him, including guys that he did not help, who never really gained anything from working with Chris Jericho. It just kept Chris Jericho in a prominent position on TV.
Come on, Action Andretti is the new Sting.
Would WWE want him for any reason at this point right now other than to just take AEW's first world champion and someone who was such a big part of AEW?
Well, but hold on here, because he did an interview, and this was with one of the wrestling entity publications or sites or whatever, right? But he said he would be willing to go back to the WWE, or he'd be happy staying in AEW. Basically, it's the cover all bases and answer everything. He was giving I would evaluate any offer at any situation and do what's best for me. That's why I've reinvented myself so much. So he's basically saying, I'll do anything that ends up the best thing for me to do. But didn't he just announce a couple of years ago, because we were talking about it and laughing about it, that he signed a 10-year contract? And not only he, but Tony announced, signed a 10-year contract, because we were laughing. He'll be 62. So unless Tony was to let him out of that contract, which at some point he may very well want to, then he wouldn't be able to go back to the WWE. When he's 62 years old, he might get inducted in the Hall of Fame. That will come to a point somewhere down the road. But right now, I would have to think that there would probably be, unless the personal aspect comes into it, all things being equal, I don't know how he left him or what the relationship is. But if I was the WWE, I'd say if we can get Chris Jericho to do 5 matches in the next couple of years, it would be a pay-per-view, WrestleMania, whatever. It might be worth doing something of a reasonable amount of money and merchandise and etc. And some television appearances where he wasn't wrestling. But I think just for the nostalgia value, I don't know at this point. Punk is a nostalgia run almost at this point, and he's 10 years younger than Jericho. So would they want to put Jericho in a position where the people would see through it because he's wrestling even once or twice a month? I think it would have to be a limited thing. If it was interest on their part, they wouldn't start building a regular talent, and regular now being once or twice a week. They wouldn't start building Jericho at this age as a regular talent for a 2 or 3 year contract. I can't see that.
Well, we'll follow this story and see what happens. And if there's anything more to say, we'll say it on the drive-thru, but it certainly didn't leave Big Bill and Brian Keith looking like anything.
Oh, it left them looking like something. I've seen a lot of what it left them looking like in the middle of the road after the parade goes by.